Alright, it's early season. I'm out here looking for food sources. Deer are starting to shift their pattern. Some of the red oaks have started dropping acorns. And I've noticed something just all over the woods that I don't see much people talk about, so I wanted to share this little tidbit of info for those of y'all scouting for early season food sources, mainly acorns. Around here, you'll see some red oaks starting dropping. There's some that have been dropping for a couple weeks already, but a lot of oaks are still holding on to their acorns. So you're looking for those first ones that are dropping. The deer are going to hit first. It can be some really good hunting when you do find them. But looking around, I'm seeing acorns everywhere, just a few here and there, even the white oaks. And here the whites don't start dropping until, mid-October usually, so they're still a few weeks out. But I'm still finding a few acorns, so I want to show you what I just picked up right around here. So I got this mix of acorns that I just picked up. We'll go through some of them. So these here all came off a red oak, and you can see they're brown. They look ready. All acorns are going to turn some shade of brown when they're ripe and ready to drop out of the tree. Depending on the species, it may be light brown like these, or it may be almost black. But regardless, they're going to go from green to some shade of brown. I'm seeing here a couple of white oaks. One's green and one's brown. And then a chestnut oak, which is a type of white oak that's half green and half brown. So we're a few weeks out from seeing the big drop of white oaks, but I'm still seeing a few on the ground here, and this one's brown. At a glance it looks ready, but you want to pay attention to this because you're looking for acorns the deer are going to be eating, so you're looking for deer sign as well. But if you're seeing some acorns dropping, if you're seeing acorns that are half green half brown like this chestnut oak or these little white oak acorns, what happens with a lot of acorns is that as they're growing up in the tree they get worms, and this one's a perfect example because you can see little holes, and then part of the acorn's brown. So what we're going to do here is crack into all of these. If you're going to use a knife, don't cut yourself. This is a great way to cut yourself. But we're going to try to crack into this. Here's the inside, and it's actually mostly intact. There's a little bit of damage from the worms, but this one's mostly intact. Now I don't see deer really eating chestnut oaks for some reason. I know some people do when it's the only acorn around, but I kind of disregard those. That one was okay. So here's the white oak. We'll take the cap off. That's one giveaway. If you see a brown acorn on the ground from a white oak, but it's still got the cap, something might be wrong. We'll crack this one open. Look at the inside of that. It's just black and brown where the worms have eaten into it. I'd say half of it's still good, but I'm also going to say a deer's probably not going to eat that. Got a bunch of worm poop in there. And then here we got a green one, so it's not even ripe, but it fell for some reason, and it's got a little bit of brown showing under the cap. Same thing with this one, it got worms. Look at that. So, if you're seeing acorns that are starting to drop early, but they're funny color, pick a couple up and crack into them. If they're not good, don't even bother looking for deer sign. Just keep going. Try to find some good ones. So here's a northern red oak. We're going to pop the cap off. Already looking kind of nasty in there. I'm just going to... They're a lot easier to crack by hand if they've been eaten in the middle. Sometimes you got to step on them or use a knife to crack into them. Here, I've split it with my knife, and it's just rotten. And I would say the same for all of these that have dropped. And one way you can tell, other than finding where the worms have made spots on them, is just toss it in your hand. Don't drop it like that, but just toss it in your hand. It feels very, very light. Means there's no good meat in there. This one doesn't weigh anything. If you get a good acorn, it'll have a little bit of weight to it. So this one cracks open easy. It's so torn up. You see the worms have destroyed it. So just because you're seeing acorns on the ground doesn't mean that's a good place to hunt. You still want to see fresh deer sign, and you want to make sure they're good ripe acorns that have matured and dropped off the tree naturally. So there may be a bunch of acorns around me, but this is not a spot I'm looking to hunt. So that's my little bit of advice for y'all for scouting early season food. Not all acorns are created equal, and you still got to find the ones that the deer are eating and the ones that are good, because we get a lot of worms in these. But it is early. They're just starting to drop. I've noticed a few red oaks are dropping good ripe acorns, and then you'll have some green ones that the squirrels knock out of the trees too. But once you start seeing those good brown acorns, start looking for deer sign, and pretty soon you'll find a hot tree that's worth hunting. So thanks for watching. We're going to get back in here and do a little scouting.